A burned-out salaryman dies at his desk, and his final wish is the dumbest one imaginable. Come back as some rich person's spoiled house dog. Belly rubs, gourmet meals, zero responsibilities. Somehow, the universe actually grants it. Problem is, this puppy isn't staying a puppy. In 1 month, he's grown into a wolf-sized beast with glowing markings and a mouth that fires laser beams. A swordswoman in the mansion is trying to kill him, an ancient wolf pack is calling him their king, and something hungry is growing in the forest. All he wanted was to nap in sunbeams. Instead, his lazy pet life just became the most stressful job he's ever had. Picture the most depressing office you can imagine. A company motto that literally says, "Work until you die," and one exhausted salaryman collapsing face first onto his keyboard. His final thought isn't about family or regrets or unfinished dreams. Nope. His dying wish is to come back as some rich person's pampered dog. And somewhere in the universe, a goddess apparently hears him, shrugs, and says, "Sure, why not?" Because the next thing he knows, he's waking up warm, fuzzy, and very, very small. He blinks awake in what looks like a storage room, and the memories start flooding back. The crushing overtime, the collapse, the death. But now he's staring up at a gorgeous silver-haired girl cradling him like he's the most precious thing she's ever seen. This is Mary, daughter of a massive conglomerate family, and she has decided on the spot that this little puppy is coming home with her. Ruta, still in full puppy panic mode, is yipping uncontrollably as she scoops him up. His new life as a rich family's pet has officially begun, and honestly, he couldn't have scripted it better himself. Fast forward 1 month, and Ruta is absolutely living the dream. He's sprawled out eating gourmet calf steak cooked to perfection by James, the mansion's elite chef, with juice practically dripping off the plate. Mary dotes on him constantly. The staff adores him, and he spends his days lazing in sunbeams without a single care in the world. The corporate slave who once survived on energy drinks and despair is now crunching through bones like they're candy. If heaven exists, he's pretty sure this is it. There's just one small problem starting to creep in at the edges. He's getting bigger, like way bigger. Ruta catches his reflection in a fancy mirror one day and nearly has a heart attack, because the fluffy little puppy from a month ago is now a massive, wolf-sized beast with sharp markings on his forehead. Mary and the staff somehow don't seem to notice or care, still treating him like the same adorable pup. But Ruta knows exactly what this means. If he keeps growing at this rate, Papa-san is going to take one look at him and boot him straight out of the mansion, and that's when things get dangerous. Enter Zenofia. She's a swordswoman currently staying at the mansion, and unlike everyone else, her eyes are wide open. She marches up to Papa-san with a paper in hand and bluntly declares that dog is not normal. No puppy grows that big in a single month. She's convinced Rota is a monster, maybe even a hellhound mimicking a dog, and she wants it dealt with before something terrible happens. Papa-san, bless him, just thinks Ruta looks like an ordinary pup and gently suggests Zenofia needs to loosen up a bit. But Zenofia isn't the type to back down. She overhears him dismiss her concerns and absolutely does not take it well. She declares it's her responsibility to protect everyone in this house, and she means it with her whole chest. Ruta, hiding nearby and hearing every word, realizes his pampered paradise is hanging by a thread. This woman is going to kill him. Not metaphorically. She's a trained swordswoman, and she's already planning how to deal with him. The corporate slave who escaped one death is now staring down another, and this time, there's no goddess waiting with a reincarnation coupon. So Ruta does the only thing he can think of. He commits, hard to the bit. He's going to outdog every dog that ever dogged. He practices making his eyes huge and round like a princess, tucks his fangs behind a cute little duck face, and forces out these pathetic, whimpering noises from deep in his throat. If looking harmless is what it takes to survive, he's going to be the most harmless-looking murder wolf in the kingdom. It's absolutely ridiculous, and he knows it. But his dream of lazy pet life is on the line. Then comes the ambush. Zenofia corners him in the back garden, spear drawn, demanding he reveal his true identity as a monster. She's done playing around. She swings her weapon and tells him there's no way a real dog could grow this much in a month, and she's pretty sure he's a hellhound in disguise. Ruta is internally screaming, watching his entire fluffy future flash before his eyes. If he runs, he looks guilty. If he fights, he confirms everything. He's one wrong move away from becoming a very expensive rug. And just when the tension is at its peak, the story hits you with the best possible punchline. James the chef comes strolling out with a giant bone treat, completely oblivious to the life or death standoff happening in his garden. Ruta immediately forgets the whole dying thing and starts munching like a maniac, barking happily because this bone is genuinely incredible. Zenofia stands there absolutely fuming, watching her dramatic monster reveal get completely derailed by dog snacks. James even cheerfully offers her some too, which somehow makes it worse. Her perfectly planned confrontation has been destroyed by gourmet cuisine. Later, Mary announces she wants to take Ruta on a trip to the Holy Lake in the forest, and Zenofia is not having it. She goes full overprotective mode, explaining that monsters are persistent like cockroaches, and going out without guards is dangerous even for adults. The lake is far. They could get lost. Anything could happen. Mary pouts and suggests next time just the two of them can go, and Zenofia immediately shuts that down with a firm no. She's cautious with everyone in this family, and Ruta is watching all of this with the dawning horror that his biggest threat might also be his most loyal protector. A few days later, the story slows down for one of those quiet emotional beats that hits harder than it should. Mary wants to take Ruta to the Holy Lake, but Zenofia is conveniently out buying a new sword, and the carriage driver is on break. Mary's face falls, and Ruta's heart absolutely melts. So when no one is looking, he gently nudges her toward the window, and basically agrees to sneak out with her. She lights up, climbs onto his back, and off they go. A tiny rich girl and her giant wolf on a forbidden field trip. It's the kind of scene where you remember this story isn't just comedy, it's also about a lonely kid who finally has a friend. They make it to a peaceful tree on a hill, and Mary flops down for a nap, exhausted from her usual dawn to dusk study schedule. Ruta curls up beside her as a living fluffy pillow, watching over her with this soft, protective expression. He thinks about how she's still just a kid, how of course she wants to play whenever she can, and you can feel the corporate slave in him recognizing burnout when he sees it. For a moment, it's perfect. Sunshine, breeze, a sleeping princess, and her loyal dog. And then the mood shifts because Ruta's ears prick up, and something in the forest is very, very wrong. The next page slams you with one of the best horror panels in the series so far. A massive glowing eye in the shadows, jagged teeth, and the words, "Found you," carved across the panel like a death sentence. Monsters are coming. They're heading straight for them, and Ruta's heart is hammering. His brain goes into full panic mode. Could he carry Mary and run? No, she'd fall off the second she woke up. Could he fight? He's never thrown a punch in 2 lifetimes. Could he leave her? Not a chance in hell. The lazy pet dream he died for is about to collide headfirst with the reality that he's the only thing standing between this little girl and something hungry. That's actually where Chapter 2 wraps, and Chapter 3 kicks off with the best possible tonal whiplash. It's titled Sausage Full Armor, and we open on Ruta standing majestically in the moonlight, wearing a necklace made entirely of sausages. He's calling them rations. He's dead serious. He's got a whole hand-drawn investigation map laid out with Check 1 and Check 2 marked on it, because he's decided to sneak out at night and figure out why monsters are appearing in the forest in the first place. The corporate slave brain has kicked in full force, and he's running this whole thing like a project meeting. And it gets better, because he literally holds a meeting with himself on a whiteboard titled, "The Plan for the Happy Pet Life." Bullet point 1, the beam that shoots out of his mouth. Bullet point 2, the monsters in the forest. Side notes scribbled around it asking what Zenofia is doing, what he even is, and what actually happened at the lake. He concludes that the monster problem is more urgent than figuring out his own weird laser mouth, and that the only person who could explain his body is the goddess herself, who is definitely not returning his calls. Then, having made his plan, he announces he'll put all his strength into sleeping until nightfall, then eating, then sleeping again. Priorities. Before the mission, we get one of the sweetest little moments in the whole recap so far. James the chef serves him a fancy sour crab dish with egg yolk and fresh cream, and Ruta is in absolute heaven. James ruffles his fur, promises to make him an omelet with the leftover crab meat tomorrow, and Ruta just melts into this pure, affectionate old man mode. For a second, you forget he's a reincarnated salaryman. He's just a happy dog getting head pats from a chef who genuinely likes him, and he admits he's already forgetting all the bad things that happened. It's disgustingly wholesome, and the manga knows exactly what it's doing to you. Night falls, and Ruta sneaks out on his big investigation, hyping himself up like he's the main character of a Monster Hunter game. He even gets his own dramatic Quest Start title card. He tries to summon the mysterious mouth beam on command, barking furiously at the goddess to give him a retry, yelling at her like she's a smartphone company that installed bloatware on him without permission. He poses, he strains, he demands the beam appear. Nothing happens. He just stands there in the forest looking mildly embarrassed, and the narration coldly informs us that nothing happened. Let's go back. And of course, the second he gives up, the beam fires on its own and blows a crater into the landscape. Ruta is furious. He starts cursing out the goddess, demanding to know where in the world a dog can shoot a satellite cannon out of its mouth, pointing out that this isn't even a wolf at this point. This is a full-blown monster. He never signed up for artillery. He just wanted belly rubs and gourmet meals. The joke of the whole chapter is that he's slowly realizing his dream of being a normal, pampered pet is fundamentally incompatible with the fact that his body is a walking weapon of mass destruction, and whatever is lurking in that forest just heard him fire it. Then comes the scene that completely rewrites the tone of this manga. Ruta is sitting alone in the rubble, howling at the moon, and asking himself what the actual hell he's doing. Is he a wolf now? Is this his life? He's halfway to an existential crisis when he snaps into what the manga literally labels enlightened mode. He decides he's going home, crawling into bed, and sleeping this off. Except the second he turns to leave, the forest erupts with howls from every direction, dozens of them, coming closer, and Ruta's peaceful pet-life brain short-circuits, because these are not goblins. A massive black wolf steps out of the shadows flanked by an entire pack, and they all bow. The leader introduces himself as Garo, and he calls Ruta, Your Majesty, the magical wolf king Fenrir. Ruta is frantically protesting that no, he's just a dog, he's a pet, there's been a huge misunderstanding. But Garo points to the silver light radiating from Ruta's body under the moonlight and says there's no doubt about it. Ruta glances down at his own glowing paws and internally wails that he is not shining. He refuses to be shining. The goddess has really outdone herself this time. Now here's where the whole power fantasy of this story starts to reveal itself. These wolves have been protecting the land for generations under some kind of ancient pact, forced to stay hidden while humans burned forests and killed animals for sport. They hate humans with a burning passion, and now that their king has finally returned, the pact is lifted, and they want to march on humanity and devour them all. Garo is howling for war. The pack is ready to leap beyond the boundary, and Ruta is standing there thinking, wait, no, if you kill the humans, who's going to make me gourmet steak dinners? Ruta's inner monologue here is pure comedy gold. He's trying to look regal and kingly, while frantically thinking up reasons why killing humans is a bad idea. He lands on the most Ruta logic possible. If they destroy the humans, there will be no one left to cook for him, no one to pet him, no one to give him a warm basket to sleep in. So he puts on his most serious face and decrees that killing humans is absolutely prohibited, and their iron rule from now on is to coexist. The wolves are moved to tears by his wisdom and mercy. They think their king is showing compassion. Ruta is just protecting his meal ticket. Then Garo starts trembling and drooling at something, and Ruta realizes the wolf is staring at his blood and nut sausage necklace. He offers one over, and Garo takes a bite and is immediately transported to a spiritual realm. We get this absurd dramatic panel of Garo remembering an old story his mother told him, and the flavor of the sausage hits him so hard he starts narrating some nonsense about a noble knight and a pure maiden offering her virginity to heaven. It's gloriously stupid. The sausage is just that good. And in Garo's mind, the fact that humans can make food this incredible is proof that Ruta is right. They absolutely should not be destroyed. The wolves are now fully convinced their king is a visionary leader who has mastered the humans into serving him tribute. They see how relaxed he is, how the humans willingly bring him the finest meats, and they interpret this as charismatic domination at the highest level. Ruta is sweating bullets trying to explain that no, he's literally just a pet. They're feeding him because they think he's cute. The wolves nod sagely and assume their king is being humble. There is no way out of this. He is now, officially and against his will, the king of wolves. He also learns something important during this meeting. He asks if these wolves know anything about the monsters appearing in the forest, and they tell him about a thing called the labyrinth. It's a living cave, a seed-like creature that grows roots into places rich with magical energy, spawns monsters inside its body, brainwashes them into indiscriminate predators, and then consumes everything around it to grow bigger. It's basically a dungeon that eats ecosystems. The wolves have been holding it back for years, and they're worried they can't contain it much longer. Oh, and the legend about the holy lake keeping monsters away? Total myth. The wolves have just been quietly doing the work for generations. Ruta, being Ruta, announces he'll go check it out himself. Garo panics and begs him not to, insisting it's far too dangerous even for a king. Ruta walks right up to the cave entrance, takes one sniff, and immediately gags. The smell is horrific, like a summer outhouse, and he noped out of that mission so fast. He waves off the wolves, tells them they've done enough for today, and starts heading home. Garo insists on at least escorting him halfway back, the picture of a devoted knight serving his king. It's genuinely sweet in a completely ridiculous way. The scene shifts to a quiet moment back at the mansion with the family. Papa-san and the butler are going over financial reports, and we learn that James the chef has been begging for a bigger food budget because Ruta is eating him out of house and home. The butler suggests they just expand the warehouse. Papa-san laughs because he adores that dog, and then, almost offhandedly, he mentions that someone named Hekate-sama is coming to visit tomorrow. That name drop lands with weight because nobody says it casually, and the chapter pivots on it. Meanwhile, Ruta is living his best life. He and Mary are playing tag in the garden, rolling around like the precious idiots they are. She's happily calling him her pillow while napping on his fluffy side, and James is about to serve him another absurd meal. Life is good. Too good, because Zenofia is watching the whole thing from a distance, holding a brand new sword, waiting for the perfect moment. She catches him alone at the fountain, and her voice cuts through everything. "You already know what business I have with you. This time, this won't end like before. No one is around to interrupt me here." The confrontation that follows is genuinely tense. Zenofia explains that magical energy lingers after it's used, and she picked up traces of it on Ruta. She asks if he's had contact with any monsters lately, and his guilty little whistle gives him away instantly. She doesn't hesitate. She raises her blade and declares she's going to end this with one attack, sending him straight to his grave. Ruta is frozen, staring down a legendary beast slayer sword wielded by someone who finally has the weapon to back up her instincts. The cute act won't save him this time. Her voice cracks as she tells him to blame himself for his own greed, for growing this big in just a month. There's no guarantee he won't grow bigger. If that happens, she won't be able to handle him anymore. So if she can just end this now, with only her being the one who's hated, it'll all be worth it. It's devastating. She's not gloating. She's genuinely trying to carry the weight of killing something she's not even sure deserves it. This isn't a villain monologue, it's a confession. The sword comes down, and Ruta's body reacts before his mind does. He moves faster than he's ever moved, catches the blade, and the legendary sword, the 10 times the price beast slayer she paid a fortune for, snaps clean in half. Silence. Zenofia just stares at the broken hilt in her hand, and Ruta stares back at her, and neither of them know what to do. Then the dam breaks. She drops to the grass, curls into herself, and starts sobbing. Not angry sobs, the quiet, humiliated kind. The kind that comes when you've been holding everything in for too long. And this is where the manga pulls off its best moment yet. Zenofia starts pouring her heart out, and you finally understand her. She only has her swordsmanship. She's the only one in this whole mansion who takes the threat seriously, and everyone else just laughs her off. She says even if she cuts Ruta, he'll just pull a stupid face and she'll end up getting consoled by a stupid dog, and she'll look like the fool. The narration compares her to a girl singing her heart out in a chorus contest while all the boys snicker in the back. She's not a villain. She's a kid trying desperately to be taken seriously by adults who keep patting her on the head. Ruta, the reincarnated corporate slave who spent his whole first life being ground down by a company that didn't respect him, recognizes this kind of pain instantly, so he does the only thing he can. He gently pats her head with his giant paw and tells her he's sorry. He tells her please don't let herself get scammed again with fake swords. She sniffles and tells him to shut up and stop consoling her, but she doesn't push him away. For the first time, these two aren't enemies. They're just two lonely people who finally understand each other a little bit. It's such a quiet, earned moment in a manga that's mostly been gags about sausages and cute poses. Zenofia pulls herself together and storms off, yelling back that this doesn't mean she's given up. This won't end the same way next time. Remember that. Ruta cheerfully barks that that's the spirit. Keep it up, because of course he does. And then he looks at the torn up garden around him, the broken sword pieces, the churned grass, and his face just falls. How on earth is he supposed to clean this up? The gardener is going to have questions. Papa-san is going to have questions. He's standing there like a guilty kid who just broke a vase. And that's when a brand new voice drifts down from above. A casual, amused little Enya from somewhere in the treetops. Ruta's head snaps up, and perched on a branch above him is a small, dark cat with a collar, watching the whole thing with clear amusement. Ruta is panicking because someone saw everything, but the cat just tells him not to worry about it. She introduces herself with a dramatic flourish as Hekate Ruruars, the Witch of Furtberg, and announces they'll be seeing each other from now on. Ruta's brain immediately short-circuits into magical girl transformation imagery, complete with a wand and a frilly outfit, because this is clearly a witch in a cat's body. He's never seen a self-proclaimed female cat witch around here before. He introduces himself back as Ruta, a pet of this house, and Hekate purrs that it's nice to meet him, Ruta-kun. The name drop lands with weight because we heard Papa-san mention Hekate-sama was coming to visit just a chapter ago. This is her. This tiny cat is the mysterious guest the whole family was preparing for. Ruta has no idea what he's walking into. Then we flash to James the chef, and this is where it gets funny again. Ruta's quiche goes missing, specifically a raw ham and mushroom quiche that James made just for him. Ruta is losing his mind trying to figure out who stole it, and the trail leads straight back to a certain cat licking her lips innocently near a windowsill. He confronts Hecate, who tries to play it off by claiming she only ate the bacon and the vegetables. Whoops! Ruta is furious. He demands his quiche back, she laughs at him, and he grabs her by the scruff and drags her off, threatening to throw her in the stable and wash her over and over again. She's flailing, apologizing, promising to bring him great candies next time, saying she'll make it up to him. And then she says the word that stops him cold: friend. She asks if they're friends now, if they can make up, because she's interested in him. Ruta's brain just glitches out. When was the last time anyone called him a friend? In his last life, he was too exhausted from overtime to have friends. In this life, he's either a pet, a target, or a wolf king, but never just a friend. He sits there blinking at this weird little cat with her big eyes, and something warm and unfamiliar moves through him. He tells her fine, they're furry friends, it can't be helped. And she purrs happily and promises to bring him candies tomorrow. Later, Papa-san is stumbling around the mansion drunk off his feet, holding an empty sake bottle and happily woofing at Ruta like they're old drinking buddies. It turns out Hecate left behind some kind of mysterious honey-sweet sake. The smell alone made Ruta feel like he was being forced to smile, and the taste was impossibly harmonious. Papa-san had one sip and became Ruta's new best friend forever, ruffling his fur and declaring they've become drinking companions. Ruta is just lying there with a contented little heart floating over his head, thinking this might actually be the best thing that's ever happened to him. Someone else in the house finally heard that weird howling the other night too, by the way, and it was only Papa-san. Small problem for later. The next day, Hecate shows up again like she promised, and true to her word, she brought candies. Ruta is wagging his tail so hard the ground is shaking, and she teases him that if he's going to beg like that, she has no choice but to prepare more for him. These two have fallen into an easy rhythm already, the bickering friendship kind, where they annoy each other but neither actually wants to leave. Then Hecate announces she has to go, says she'll see him tomorrow, and vanishes in a swoosh of magic right in front of him. Ruta just stares at the empty spot where she was and thinks, okay, now that she's gone, what the hell was that? And that's where the story has now officially set up its three biggest threads. The labyrinth in the forest is still growing and waiting. Zenofia has been humbled but not defeated, and is absolutely going to try again. And Hecate, a mysterious witch in a cat's body, has attached herself to Ruta for reasons nobody has explained yet. The lazy pet life Ruta died for is now a full-time job with 3 active quests, a wolf army, and a drinking buddy who also signs his paycheck. Turns out being a rich man's dog has way more politics than the brochure suggested.